News cycle today on October 5th, 2020. They're the main topics of tonight's show. Welcome to RMU Extra. I'm Austin Bexel alongside my co-host Luke Yost. So tonight, I'll be joined by a whole cast of talent from RMU Central Media and RMU-TV's Sam Dutch. She'll tell us about how all about the movie All Together Now, which is on Netflix, which she watched this past weekend. Nathan Breisinger will give us the latest music update after Friday's list of freshly dropped albums and songs. Colby Sherwin will recap Saturday Night Live's 46th season premiere. And my co-host Luke Yost is here with me, as always, to talk Big Brother and sports. But we begin today with the news of President Trump announcing that he is leaving Walter Reed Medical Center after flying to the hospital by helicopter for precautionary reasons Friday afternoon after he was diagnosed with the coronavirus. President Trump saying in a tweet, "I will be leaving the great Walter Reed Medical Center today at 6:30 p.m. Feeling really good. Don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life. We have developed under the Trump administration some really great drugs and knowledge. I feel better than I did 20 years ago." So, Luke, I want to first ask you, what do you make of the president's statement?
20 years is a long time, Austin. I don't know if he feels better than he did 20 years ago. Definitely better than he did 20 hours ago. But I'm still kind of digesting that when he said COVID. Don't be worried about COVID, something like that in the middle of the tweet there. So it's a lot to take in from the president.
Yeah, my initial reaction to the president getting coronavirus is I was honestly pretty fearful for him, being 74 years old and he's in that risk factor. He's in that age group that he is vulnerable to the coronavirus. And, just seeing that he's able to get it really is able to show that anybody in the United States could get the coronavirus. So yeah. I want to ask you. Oh, no, go ahead. What are your
I was
thoughts?
going to say, yeah, I think he was one of the people that if he didn't get COVID, I think it kind of expected that you're not going to let the president get COVID. But I mean, you're right. It does happen to anybody, and anybody can get it.
So I want to first ask you, do you think supporters of the president who might have thought that wearing a mask was really not something that they thought would work, do you think that this will change their minds in any way? I
honestly think it will. I think because we've seen Donald Trump supporters neglect the mask, and if you're out and about and somebody's wearing a MAGA hat, they may or may not have a mask on. Odds are 50-50. Other people really wear the mask. I'm not saying all Trump supporters don't wear masks. I'm saying because of what happened recently, I do think you're going to see more people with masks on. I
agree. I definitely think that they see that the guy they support, so heavily is able to get the virus that I think they take a step back and really say, whoa, no one is untouchable. The leader of the free world isn't untouchable. And I think, honestly, it kind of will change some of their decisions. But do you think that the president getting coronavirus will affect the election at all? I think just briefly that, he can use this and being able to discuss just in debates, I had the virus. I know what it's like to go through with it. And, I think at one point Trump is going to go, it is the real deal. And, with me going through it, I understand what people are like, and I think he'll be able to definitely connect with the audience a little bit more.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you.
So let's transition now to what's going on in this week in sports, Luke.
There's a lot happening this week in sports. Tampa Bay won the Stanley Cup. The Lakers playing the finals against the Heat. Here we take a look at it. The Lightning won the Stanley Cup 4-2 over Dallas in 6 games. They won Game 6 2-0. Their last cup since 2014, and Dallas still remains without a cup since the 1999 Stanley Cup Finals. But I mean, they shouldn't have won the cup anyway. Brett Hall's foot was in the crease.
They should have won the cup, yeah.
John Handelman made me say that. He's a big Buffalo guy. The Lakers 2-0 up in the NBA Finals are now Jimmy Butler, a 40-point triple-double, the third player in history to do it. Jerry West did it in 1969. LeBron James in 2015.
Right, and we saw last night Jimmy Butler just completely go off for a triple-double and be able to take over to be able to get the Heat back in the series. Now 2-1 against the Lakers with Game 4 coming up tomorrow night. I look as one huge topic is going to be what is going to happen with Bam Adebayo and Goran Dragic. Their injuries have started to pile up significantly with that team, and being able to see Butler pull it off really with no help. I mean, other than Tyler Hero, Jay Crowder, I guess, Duncan Robinson, to be able to take down LeBron and Anthony Davis, who they flat out dominated at points in games 1 and 2. I think that's definitely an interesting part to look at. And tonight you see some great games that are going on in the NFL.
Yeah, well, bigger news in the NFL, not necessarily great games. We're going to use Bill O'Brien out as the head coach of the Houston Texans after a 4-0 start, and arguably probably the hardest division to win in, or hardest schedule to win in. Excuse me. They've played 3 top-tier teams. They lost to the Vikings yesterday. Not really a great team, but yeah, a 0-4 start. It's what have you done for me lately in the NFL?
Right.
But yeah, again, big news. The first game we've seen moved because of COVID is happening as we speak.
Yeah. Coming up right now. It was starting at 7 o'clock. Kansas City Chiefs and the New England Patriots with no Cam Newton.
No Cam Newton.
So I would think that's definitely a game that the Kansas City Chiefs are winning. I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Travis Kelce on my fantasy team, but I'm still not going to win my fantasy week, but, whatever. But let's move into another big topic that happened this week. Big Brother's first ever triple eviction, Luke. What do you make of it?
It's a lot. I mean, we've seen double evictions every year. The first ever triple eviction. We got 3 players going home, 2 of which, I mean, we're on the outside. Let's be honest here. We're not part of the big house alliance. Then Danny, the first member of the committee to actually get pushed out of the house. David did win that $10,000 in the OTEV challenge.
Yeah, what do you think of that? Was that a smart decision? If I was David, I'm on the block. That just puts an unnecessary target on my back. That just shows the rookie in him. What are you doing?
It shows the rookie, and it shows like the lack of
awareness
and a great awareness. Like, I mean, I don't think you have a lack of confidence. You actually had more confidence going for the money. But yeah, lack of awareness of the competition. You've got to obviously realize he mentioned it before the competition started. He goes, there's definitely a bigger alliance in this house that I'm not part of. Then why not play for that $10,000? I mean, you watched the competition. He was he probably wasn't gonna make it at the end there. He probably been eliminated the first time, so he went for the money to get the money. But yeah, just not a great move, I think, on his part.
I agree. And he even said afterwards, after the fact, when they did an interview with him, he said, "Yeah, I got the money. I have no regrets. I'll take it." I was honestly a little surprised that Danny went home. Now, seeing she was going after Tyler. Everybody knows that. So whenever Tyler goes and wins the head of household in the triple eviction, puts up Nicole, puts up Danny, and decides, Danny, you're gone. I think that partially it was Tyler looking at it as, Danny swung at Tyler, and Danny was even told, if you swing at Tyler, you can't miss. Danny missed, and then Tyler gets his revenge.
Well, I mean, not only did she swing at him, but her and Nicole obviously were playing this game together as a duo, probably looking at a final 2 there if you don't split them up now. And he did. He got him out of the house, and now it's pretty much gloves are off. We're just going for it. I mean, you have the last remaining of the committee, the alliance that dominated the house this year, and it's going to be an excellent 5 weeks.
5 committee members and Enzo is all that remains, and Enzo basically is in the committee. Basically, I just really want to know. You could tell that Cody and Memphis and Enzo are just so tight, and I don't understand why no one went after them at all. Like what? Now, I understand that Enzo was always saying, I want to make a big move, I want to make a big decision. And when he had the opportunity to either vote out Nicole or vote out David, he voted out David, and he didn't make the big move. So a lot of it's just talk and no action at all.
I think for Enzo, I think it's a smart play. I think he keeps those people. I mean, I'm not saying Nicole's in his back pocket, but he keeps her kind of like her defenses are down against him. But yeah, and you go back to Enzo, Memphis, and Cody. That's a trio that they've already mentioned they're going to go to the end together. They want to go to the end together. And again, you mentioned Tyler. You can't swing and miss on Tyler. You can't swing and miss on either one of those guys, because if you do, you put 2 of the 3 up together, whoever's not leaving is going to go after you the next week.
With 6 left, real quick, who is your prediction to win it all? Who's your final 2, and who do you think comes out on top?
My final 2 are Memphis and Cody. I think it's going to take a big time move to try to get those 2 out of the house together. I think you have to go for them together. You can't put Cody up next to somebody else or vice versa. And it's going to be those 2 at the finals. I think Cody's going to win it all.
I hate to say it, but I completely agree. I think, Cody, the other side of the Hitmen, and Memphis, the other side of the Renegades with Derek and Dan, they're just going to know how to get to the end. They've played it. They've both gotten second place. I think Enzo is one guy that could sneak into the finals, but I look at it right now and say, this is Cody's game to lose, and I think he's gonna come out on top as well. But so coming up after the break, good discussion, Luke. RMU Central Media's Sam Dutch will be joining me to talk about the movie All Together Now that you watched on Netflix. Stay tuned here on RMU Extra.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Pacha. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Well, now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Jason, let's go see your room.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes now. Could spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
Welcome back to RMU Extra. I'm now joined by Central Media Zone Sam Dutch to tell us about her thoughts on the Netflix original movie All Together Now. Sam, you've been on every week. Thanks for coming on again.
Always fun to be here.
So I want to first ask you, what was your initial reaction to the movie All Together Now?
I really enjoyed the movie. It was a good, feel-good, inspirational kind of movie, which is always good to watch, especially with so much going on. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, there is definitely, I think that's an understatement, everything that's going on right now. So tell me, what is the basis of the movie? What is it all about?
So it follows Amber Appleton. She goes to high school, and it just follows her life. She has a secret that she's homeless, living on a school bus, and it just goes through her friends, how they help her kind of with her problems, and how music helps her. Goes through all that fun stuff.
So what made you want to watch this movie?
Yeah, so the main Amber, who's played by Auli'i Cravalho, always hard to say, but yeah, she was the voice of Disney Princess Moana, so I always really like her. She's in another show that I watched. She was always good. So yeah, just her and the type of movie it was. I love those kind of movies.
Okay, so let me ask you, who did you watch it with, and why did you watch it?
Yeah, so I watched it with my parents this weekend. We were looking for some good, just feel-good movie to watch, nothing too deep, even though it ended up kind of being deep, and I still cried, but it was a good movie.
It was that kind of good family movie?
Right,
then?
right.
So let me ask you, what was your favorite part?
Oh, my favorite part. My favorite part was probably towards the end when all of her friends, everyone throughout the movie kind of came together, hence I guess All Together Now. They came together and kind of resolved one of her problems she had. It was just really sweet ending.
What was the problem?
So she had this dog, her beloved dog. He had to have surgery and she didn't have enough money to have the surgery, so they all put on this variety show and they all performed to help her raise money for her dog.
I hope my friends would do that for my dog Muffin if anything ever happened to Muffin.
Poor Muffin.
Muffin's doing pretty good. So what was your parents' favorite part? Did it differ from yours?
So they really liked Carol Burnett, who was an older actor. They really loved her, and I think they really enjoyed seeing her in a newer movie. But yeah, I would say kind of that. And then there was a scene where she performed a song, which was really moving. So
That's
that was
great.
cool.
From a TV perspective, what was the production like, and how was everything put together, and just just the basis of how everything was formed?
Right. There were a couple different sets. There was a school bus, and then there was a school, and then she had two jobs, a donut shop, a nursing home. So it kind of went between all those. It was, I guess, kind of a darker kind of tone set on the movie. It was kind of darker lighting and stuff like that. But it was really smooth. It was really nicely run.
That's good. So out of everything, what in your mind stood out the most about the movie?
I think one thing that made the movie unique was kind of the diversity of the characters. They had her best friend in the movie was on the autism spectrum. There was a boy in a wheelchair. And what was kind of cool was in real life they also were like that. but they didn't really look at it as like disabilities. It was just kind of like part of their character, and they all kind of made up like a really unique group. And yeah, there were a lot of different like economic statuses, different like backgrounds, stuff like that. It was cool.
Were there any surprises or anything unexpected that you didn't think would happen that did?
Yeah, there was a huge like a tragedy that happened to the main character Amber throughout the movie. It was really like sudden. It's kind of like a bomb just like dropped on her out of nowhere. We were like, whoa, that was crazy. But
so you mentioned Amber. Is Amber your favorite character or someone else in the movie?
I always love her, but besides her, I really like Joan, who was the lady played by Carol Burnett. She was one of the senior like resident home, like she lived there, and same with like her best friend Ricky, who, yeah, he was fun too.
So one quick question as the final question: why should people quickly watch this movie?
I think people should watch it because it like is a very feel-good, in the end, inspirational movie. Yeah, but it's just a good movie to watch. The characters are really good. It's like great music. Yeah, good to watch.
All right, Sam, thanks again.
Thanks.
Can't get enough RMU Extra. There's never a dull moment. Make sure to watch us every Monday night at 7 o'clock, along with the rest of the RMU lineup. RMU Live Mondays at 1 p.m., RMU Tonight and Sports Talk in the Bird rotating every Wednesday at 5 p.m., Colonial Sports Center, CSC, Thursdays at 9:30, and RMU Focus at 1 p.m. every Friday afternoon. Coming up next, Colby Sherwin is back this week, and we'll be recapping Saturday Night Live's 46th season premiere with my co-host, Luke Yost. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Doesn't see race. Love is love.
What are you doing in there?
What's that?
I wouldn't do that. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
Let's go.
you'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes.
Make a plan today.
Welcome back to RMU Extra. I'm here with Colby Sherwin. We're going to talk about the SNL Season 46 debut. Colby was a great one. They opened up the show with the debate cold open. Just get your initial thoughts on that.
First off, I really love the first joke they have, which is if it's funny to everybody but Americans, which to me, that was so true. Honestly, it was one of the worst debates I've ever seen in my life. And
wait, the SNL debate or the debate?
Either one. They both are the same quality, if you think about it. I felt that Jim Carrey as Joe Biden stole the show, very on the nose of how Joe Biden acts, and I felt that Donald Trump always portrayed very well by Alec Baldwin.
What do you think? You mentioned Jim Carrey. What do you think is Maya Rudolph as Kamala Harris and her little piece there in the middle?
I thought she was funny. She came in at the right time. It plays Joe Biden has like an anger issue. He's trying to control it. Donald Trump's getting under his skin and he needs help. Like he can't focus. And Kamala comes in and helps him out. And then she chews out everybody else. And I thought it was pretty funny.
What about Beck Bennett as Chris Wallace? And he mentioned before the video, he goes, I'm going to try to do a good job this time. And then all of this, and then you proceed with what you proceed with.
He basically played exactly how it went for Chris Waller, excuse me. Literally could not get a control of anything. You have Donald Trump literally, at least in this one, the second Joe Biden opens his mouth, that's a lie. It's great. I loved it.
Let's move on to the monologue. Chris Rock hosted the show. How do you think he did as a monologue? It wasn't your traditional stand-up, tell jokes monologue. It was more of a political change kind of type of deal.
I expected it, honestly. We're going through a lot of change here in America right now. We're trying to get it done, and I think Chris Rock is somebody who could help get it through. He's a very popular person and popular actor, and I think that he had a good message.
And just in general, I mean, we saw a different kind of show from SNL. It was their first one back in studio. Obviously, they did a couple shows virtually. Do you think overall was it a good SNL show? Was one to write home about?
I liked it. It's a good start to the season. I'm looking forward to watching more episodes and more of the season.
And what did you make of the musical performance by Megan Thee Stallion?
I don't want to be rude or anything. It wasn't the best. You could tell she wasn't doing the best for her, but I think it'd be hard to not be nervous about COVID-19 and a big group like that, so I'll give her props for doing it.
And very quickly, what are some of the things that you want to see moving forward? Do you want to see more debates? Do you want to see more Jim Carrey as Joe Biden?
I definitely want to see more of Jim Carrey as Joe Biden. I like Alec Baldwin. I also want to shout out they had a Pittsburgh scene, and Kenan Thompson is in a flannel and a Pittsburgh Steelers hat and shirt, and he looked just like an old person like your grandpa would dress in Pittsburgh.
Just like an old person grandpa dress. Make sure you guys check out the rest of the SNL season. It's going to be a long one. There's a lot of episodes. If you want to go back and try to watch them all, good luck. There's thousands of hours of content. But for the latest, thank you, Colby. But for the latest news, arts, and entertainment, and sports going around Robert Morris and the surrounding Moon Township area, make sure that you find us on the web at rmucenturymedia.com and on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at the same RMU Century Media, and Colonial Sports Center for all your sports, or Colonial Sports Network for all your sports. RMU Sports needs. We'll be back in 2 minutes with more RMU Extra.
All over. Chance high five. All right.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique.
And your mother and... I am totally a hot person. Right, guys? Thanks for being honest.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Standard, precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get...
Welcome back to RMU Extra. So far tonight, Luke Yost and I have discussed the president having COVID-19, Big Brother, and all that is happening in the world of sports. Sam Dutch told us all about All Together Now, the movie on Netflix, and Colby Sherwin recapped the SNL season premiere with Luke Yost. I'm now joined by Nate Preisinger. Nate, you're the co-host of Ballroom in the Berg with me, and along with many other things. Thanks for coming on with me today.
Thanks for having me.
And I want to ask you about this week's New Music Friday and just all the music that came out and debuted this week. So Let me just ask your first initial thoughts to the New Music Friday releases.
You know, there was a lot of good work that was put out this past Friday. We see 21 Savage release an album with Metro Boomin. A couple other projects that came out, a new deluxe album from Wiz Khalifa, the saga of Wiz Khalifa, which, you know, was released back in April. A couple other solo releases, but I thought overall it was a good weekend for music.
So let's go album by album. What did you first think of 21 Savage and Metro Boomin's?
You know, I mean, off the top, this might be one of the most highly anticipated weeks leading up to, you know, a New Music Friday. They released a trailer with Morgan Freeman narrating the background to the trailer. I mean, who cannot be excited for an album that's going to feature Morgan Freeman? And within this album, he narrates the intro. He comes in and out of several other songs, narrating in there, with a lot of stuff that is relatable content and, you know, a lot of quotable stuff coming from him.
So that's pretty interesting. What would you say would be your favorite song then that came out of it?
Coming off this album would be, my favorite song would be Many Men, because Metro Boomin has this lead-in and a bass drop that is just so ominous and menacing, and it sort of just entails the entire project of how dark and deep it really is between 21 Savage and Metro Boomin.
Now let's go to Brian Tiller's Anniversary. What was your first initial thoughts on that whenever you listened to it?
You know, it's a 10-track project. It comes on the date of the anniversary of Trap Soul, which was released 5 years ago by Bryson Tiller, which sort of catapulted him into, you know, stardom. But this album is R&B focused. It is a lot of slow songs, but he does a lot of, you know, mix between rapping and singing in this album with only one feature, and that is Drake.
Drake. I heard that Drake song. Well, I thought it was pretty good. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good too. I mean, you can't miss with the Drake feature.
Right.
He hits home runs every time he's on a song. So it was a really good project.
And people are still trying to hate on Drake, but you know, I like Drake. So what do you think of YG's new album?
You know, a lot of the songs that came off the YG album were released prior to the project coming out on Friday. But it was more of an upbeat project. A couple of the songs were a little bit slowed down, but I think, you know, really exemplifies that West Coast style. YG does a really good job talking about what goes on inside his life.
You briefly mentioned Wiz Khalifa's album. Which album out of all four of these do you think stood out the most? Was it Wiz Khalifa's?
No, I'm going to have to go with Metro Boomin, 21 Savage, Savage Mode 2. It was, you know, there was a lot of hype building around it, and I think it pretty much was placed where I think a lot of people thought it would be.
So, if that's number one on your list, who disappointed and you think didn't live up to the hype?
I'm going to have to say Wiz Khalifa. I think Wiz Khalifa has sort of, you know, found his spot in hip-hop, and he sort of stays in that general realm. This project, this deluxe version of his album, more laid back, relaxed. He seems very relaxed on a lot of these songs, but there's nothing special about it. It's just a lot of the songs are similar to each other.
Out of all four albums that you listen to, what is the one song out of all four albums that you think is the best and that you would highly recommend for people to listen and tune into?
It's off the Savage Mode 2, Mr. Right Now, featuring Drake, again, featured on another project that came out on Friday. I think 21 Savage and Drake do a good job on sort of more of a pop-type beat where Metro Boomin switches up a little bit, and, I mean, it just talks about, you know, being in the moment, and I think Drake and 21 Savage do a good job on the song.
Did you listen to any Juice WRLD?
No, I did not.
I like Juice WRLD. But Nate Price here, thanks for joining us on the music. You know, Selma Soundbites is pretty good, but, you know, that was really good. You're really good at the music stuff, Nate. So I appreciate it. So let's go into what to watch now. My what to watch is NBA Finals Game 4, Tuesday night. Heat, Lakers. We touched on it earlier in This Week in Sports. The Lakers are up 2-1 on the Heat. The Heat came back and won last night thanks to Jimmy Butler's triple-double. Phenomenal game by Jimmy Butler, and maybe they'll get Goran Dragic back. Maybe they'll get Bam Adebayo back. Bam said he's ready to come back, but it's all up to the doctors. Luke Jost joins me back again now. Luke, what's your game to watch?
And Bam did look ready to go last night, just didn't play. My what to watch right now, it's happening right now. It's actually Patriots and Chiefs, but stay with us until our show's over. Go there now, but don't go there yet. Go there after. Chiefs and Pats right now, it's 3-0 Chiefs. Pats are driving with the ball towards the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, I really think that the Chiefs, I think it's Chiefs domination here, you know, especially at home with no Cam Newton playing. I really think that, you know, especially with the defense of New England, that's okay, but you can't stop Patrick Mahomes.
The Chiefs offense is an air force, and then the Chiefs defense is a great defense.
So, Luke, thanks for coming on. As always, This is RMU Extra. We want to thank everybody upstairs in the control room and down here in the studio. And for Sam Dutch, Colby Sherwin, Nathan Breisinker, Luke Yost, I am Austin Bechtold. We really appreciate it, and we will see you on the next RMU Extra Monday night.